Sure. I started doing 2 20-minute practices a day about a month ago.
Hmm.
Uh, I have a meditation group that I would meet with at my church like once a week, but I kind of stopped going to it and I started doing this on my own more. And it's been really good. It's mostly, I don't really do a lot of guided meditations. Sometimes my son joins me or my sister comes over, but a lot of times I'm just kind of doing it on my own. But it's been really good. I think out of the 5 things that Juno mentioned, 3 of them really resonated with me. I'm a lot nicer to people, which is good. I feel like I know myself better. I find myself being a lot more, just having moments of mindfulness throughout the day. Like, why am I doing what I'm doing? Like, this is dumb, and kind of redirecting. And that seems to be happening a lot more. So yeah, it's been really good.
Right, very good. And it's the meditation where you follow the breath?
Yeah, I so I'm reading several books about like secular meditation. One's on secular, one's on Buddhist meditation, one's on applying meditation to leadership and mindful leadership, and another one called Untethering the Soul. So I'm kind of have a multi-disciplined approach to it, trying to figure out what kind of sticks with me. Um, People at church were doing a Buddhist meditation, and I don't really that doesn't resonate that well with me. So yeah, breath's certainly part of it, but it's not like every time I sit down and I'm thinking about my breath, I'm kind of doing all kinds of different types of things.
Hmm.
George brings up an interesting point, which I think maybe Robert and David could speak to, and that is when people are starting out, there are so many different methods out there and techniques and whatever. How do you find what's right for you, and how long should you stick with one before trying something else? And of course, he also mentioned sort of the sort of background philosophy of something. Is it, couched in Buddhism? Is it couched in Christianity? Is it completely secular? Is it New Age? So maybe the two of you could mention some of those things.
Oh, God. When I first started meditating, a very long time ago, I was attending, I was a student at the Light Institute, which was founded by Chris Griscom, who lives in Santa Fe, New Mexico. And so every morning, we had to, first thing, we had to meditate. That was, the deal. And, it wasn't so much a structured meditation as it was just sit down and close your eyes and get quiet and, and eventually it got to, it's like, speaking with one's higher self, blah, blah, blah. And years later, I don't know. I wasn't really implanted with mental fabrications, having images inside your mind and what have you. And I guess I played around a bit, but eventually I just settled on anapanasati. Just mindfulness of breathing. And I did that for quite a bit, and until I realized that it could also be used for concentration, training the mind. And of course, and that was a nightmare, trying to settle your mind just on the breath without it, wandering. My success with it was marginal until I found, the PDF online by Chuladasa that gave very detailed and clear explanations about how to keep your attention on the breath. And that just, resonated with me. So I stuck with that program, and got me very far.
Right.
So I'd like to see that PDF. Where can you find that?
Well, he has a book out now.
Yeah.
But the PDF is still available.
Right.
George, I will post the link for you. There's a chat window, and I will be happy to post the link for you there. While I must say, the book that David is talking about, which is this one, The Mind Illuminated, is the one that I primarily work from. It's a wonderful and really detailed meditation manual. He does speak a bit about Buddhist concepts, but he is himself trained in I think neuroscience or neuropsychology. I'm not sure. David will be able to say more about that. But take a look at the PDF, and it'll give you a flavor, a small taste of what the book's about, and then you can decide whether it's something that you'd like to get. I personally found that's the method that I'm happy with and that I'm gaining a lot of traction with. But again, maybe David can talk a little bit more about the methods than philosophy.
Is that my house?
That's my dog.
Maybe.
That's your dog? Okay.
Yeah.
George, you said there's a church group that has a church meditation group, and it's focused more on Buddhist stuff. What denomination is the church, if I may ask?
Yeah, sure. It's Unitarian Universalist.
I thought so. I was going to guess that because the UUs do have a lot of congregations that have meditation groups led by different people and have different flavors accordingly, So when you say it's Buddhist focused, what do you mean by that?
Well, they're reading the Insight Meditate, or I think it's called Insight Meditation, which is a Buddhist focused book. So they talk about these Buddhist concepts. They meditate, they talk about these concepts.
Right.
And a lot of it, it's a lot of the reason I'm kind of moving away from them is they're a lot older than me. Like some of them are in their late 70s and 80s, and they're kind of preparing for death. And I'm like, I'm not really there yet. I want to engage with people who have a lot of energy for life, and I want to increase my creativity. All this talk about detachment is depressing me. So it's challenging for me to go.
Okay.
I think.
Okay. No, and I can tell you from my own experience, you're not always going to connect with every group.
Yeah.
I have visited, here, I moved to Houston 2 years ago. And in fact, where I was living in South Carolina, the UU church in my town had a meditation group, and I attended that for a year and a half probably, and actually started leading a lot of the sessions and moving them in a different direction, in a different approach, and trying to help them understand things a little better than just, mindfulness is just being present and aware, and let's remember our surroundings and whatever, So when I came to Houston, of course, I wanted to find a place to continue that, to have an opportunity to practice with other people. So I went to the Houston Zen Center, and hated it. And I went to the Insight Meditation Group, and that's also at a UU here, and hated that. And I didn't actually go to the Tibetan group, but they live streamed their stuff, and I hated that. And I hated them all for different reasons. Yeah. And part of it was the Zen folks are so focused on form, and that's just part of the tradition in Zen, that if you sit in a certain way, and you stare at a wall, and on and on and on. They're much more interested in what's going on with your body than in your what's going on in your head. Hello, Esther. I'm glad you came back. Esther let me know. I looked on the Beginner's Mind group. Esther said she didn't know she needed a camera and a microphone. So I sent her a message and said, hey, you can come and just listen. Or if you want to have something to say, go ahead and use the chat button at the bottom of the screen, Esther, and we'll try to include you as much as we can. So I'm glad you came back and joined us.
Welcome. Yeah.
So the Zen folks, I didn't particularly like, the formality of it. She's okay. Let her go down here. The Insight group has a teacher that has been leading it for some time. And they do a little bit of guided meditation, and then she is usually the one who gives the Dharma talk and does so. Actually, she writes it in advance and she reads it off the paper, which I found not very useful. And there was no opportunity. There was like 5 minutes at the end for questions, and the questions were all directed at the teacher. There was no opportunity for interaction among the people who were there. Yeah. So I didn't like that. And the Tibetan group, like I said, I only saw the live stream, but it's a husband and wife. She's a professor at Rice University. He's a psychologist. They have studied the Tibetan tradition for ages. And in fact, I think she's a professor of religious studies. And they have all the robes and all the wild Tibetan paintings, and oh good, Toei's joining us. And they're kind of up on a dais at the front of the room, and all, it was like Zen is kind of minimalist formality, but the Tibetan is like, let's get our Mardi Gras costume on, Right. And so I still have not found a group that I feel comfortable with. So I started one at the university where I work, University of Houston. And I got our wellness center to sponsor it. And we have a little meditation group that meets once a week that's open to students, staff, and faculty. And I lead it because 99% of the people who come there have never meditated before. And, they're coming to learn what it's about and that kind of thing. Yeah. So sometimes you have to create your own space if you can't find one that's compatible with you.
Yeah. Yeah, so far I like it when people come over here. They just come to my house. And
that's great.
That's
great that you do
that's
that.
That's absolutely fantastic. And I think what David is talking about, it happens quite a bit, that people go, well, this is not really me. So I'm just gonna invite some people over, and that's kind of, and sort of it organically grows from there. And as far as I understand it, some major sort of meditation centers started off pretty much in that kind of way. So listen, I do have to say we've got about, unfortunately, I didn't realize that this particular platform that we're using has a limitation if you have a free account, which is what I have, which means in about 3.5 minutes, we're going to get cut off. So what I suggest we do is if everyone could just come back into the room in about 2 minutes, I'm going to end the chat now and then just come back. I just want to check, Toei, I think we could hear you there. I just want to check if you're with us and if you can hear us and see us and all that good stuff.
I think it just said that Esther left. So I think now it's just Toei and us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Esther left. So Esther's probably going out and then coming back in. So we probably should do the same, or she'll just be coming back into where we are now.
All right. So I'm going to end this and give it about
a 2-minute break.
Give it about 2 minutes, and then use the same URL and come straight back in.
All right. Sounds good.
We'll pick it up in a minute then.
Thanks.
Awesome.
All right.